When you're looking for a hydration product, what are the things that you're looking for?
If I'm ever looking for a hydration product, the number one thing I'm looking for is that it tastes good. Like, water has no taste at all. Water's what, like, nature turns to rehydrate, and that's a little bit boring. And then you come down, are you gonna go with sugar? Are you gonna go with sugar-free? And all of this is just conversations point. Does this taste better than the other product? That's it. Jocko Hydrate is delicious. It's got electrolytes. That's between you guys. I don't know what electrolyte is. Frankly, I don't even need one. You could give me more electrolytes than the opponent, I'll beat the opponent. You could give me less than the opponent, I'll still beat the opponent. I can't even spell electrolyte. This has them, whatever that is. And it tastes good, which is really what matters. Conor McGregor is not to be critiqued. He's just not. He's to be studied, and then he is to be copied. There is a path where you could credit certain individuals for beginning to forge a path or showing a blueprint, but there is nobody that has done what he has done. It's as simple as that. Every fighter, all 756 of the interchangeable mediocrities not named Adesanya or Sean, have one commodity. The only commodity that you can monetize is the performance. I mean, it's all bells and whistles, right? And, I mean, you have guys that don't even speak the language. You have guys that aren't even trying. Like, you have guys that do not care that they cannot communicate. And guess what? They're stars. Like, there's another way to do this. And I'm pointing it out to you so that you understand when you stand back and you're looking at Conor, it's important that you do understand you're watching the master at work, but that doesn't mean, right? It doesn't mean he doesn't get it wrong. Like in a reverse scenario, even a broken clock is right twice a day. So this would be the reverse. But what's he doing right now? What is he doing? He's claiming. I don't know how else to say it. It's not true, but I really don't want to go down that route. And like, I even had this guy DM me and go, how can you say that? He like heard something on the Joe Rogan program or something like this, and so then he was scolding me in a DM on Twitter like I didn't know what time it was. It's like, no. When I tell you guys things, what I say and what I don't say, I am 100% correct at all times. And then, to operate and appear as a company man, I will present it to you as though I'm attempting to entertain you in front of being factually correct. That's an act. That is me performing. I am factually correct 100% of the time. So I don't know what to do here. Like, he did not pull out of this fight because of the toe, but that's the story we're going with. So let me just carry on. Let me just carry on. Is he right to do that? Right? You have a guy who has a commodity, a monetizable commodity, aside from the performance. And he's going with the toe. Okay. So, shows up at Bellator. And he gets in the ring. He's with Dan Hardy. He cuts a promo. And frankly, those two are great together. Like, if there was some way to get a Dan Hardy, Conor McGregor, if those guys would just like go sit in the back for an hour or so, oh my God, I would just love it. Hardy has this way, right? If you guys are Dan Hardy fans, you'll know it, but he has a way of communicating. So does Conor. It was just great. It was just this wonderful piece of TV. Picture's worth 1,000 words. I'm staring at Conor, right? He's wearing a Versace tank top. I don't think Versace made a tank top any more than Louis Vuitton ever made a sweatsuit. Like, I don't think. Damn, he looked cool in it. Like, he was ripped up in it. And he had this hat on. It was like this black with this yellow. He looked fire. And we've seen pictures of him. I watched a movie with him where it was a bloated Conor McGregor. It looked like a guy that had a leg injury who wasn't able to get in the gym and who had retained water weight. And that's what it looked like. That's not who Dan Hardy interviewed. Dan Hardy's in this guy's chiseled. And I'm going, wait a minute, see, these two stories don't go together. Like the real reason the fight with Chandler is not happening, like, but it's not completely in line with the physiology of Conor McGregor that stood in a tank top. Like, that's not a lot of clothes, right? I get a good look at a guy's body like that. I could work at the circus. Have you guys ever seen that where you pass by like the state fair and this guy will tell you your weight within 3 pounds, up or down, and he'll pay you if he's wrong? I could be that guy. If you guys ever meet me, ask me, go, hey, champ, by the way, what do you think I weigh? I'll nail it within 3 pounds. Like every Saturday since I was 8.5 years old, I was in a room filled with boys headed to a scale, and I could look around and know exactly who was in my bracket. So could everybody else. It's kind of like a skill that you have as a wrestler, and I only share that with you because this was not the bloated 185-pound Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor had been telling Chandler from day one, I'm fighting you at 185. Like, just didn't want to lose the weight, gotten so big in his time off, and didn't want to focus on the weight. That, you know how, like, every joke, but there's some truth to it? Like when your buddy puts you down, but then he like laughs like he's your buddy, but he really just told you something, right? There was a truth when Conor McGregor was saying he wanted it at $185. If they would have spotted him 185, he'd have done it at 185. He just didn't want to get that weight up. But I'm looking at the guy in there with Hardy, and I know the real reason that the fight got canceled. I know we have a discolored toe, and we're going with this like that. Just let me just play along, okay? But is he right? That's my question. Is he right to take the toe angle? And the toe angle becomes true, right? It becomes true as soon as it exists. My pinky is just fine, for example. But if I was to miss recording today, and then tomorrow I tell you, yeah, I missed you. God damn, look at my pinky. Oh man, I was in pain. Look at that pinky. It would have nothing to do with why I missed, but you'd be stuck with it. Like there'd be no way around it. And the pinky toe of Conor McGregor was fascinating to me. It was fascinating that he would put that out. Like, this is a legit tough guy. This is a dude that did not mind having little experience and taking on Dustin Poirier. This is a dude that did not mind cutting down to 145 pounds and challenging Jose Aldo for all of 13 seconds. Like, this is a very legitimate tough guy who the last time we saw him got starched, has a leg snapped in half. It's as bad of an injury as I've ever seen. Now, in fairness, I've seen it 3 times. I saw Weidman's, I saw Anderson's, and I saw Conor's. But it's the same injury. Like, the one wasn't worse than the other. It's a literal statement when I tell you it's as bad of an injury as I've ever seen. And he calls Joe Rogan over to sit down so he can finish his interview because that's the job he promised that he would do. That is a legit tough guy. So, if he wants to pull off a fight because of a discolored toe, like, I'm not going to come and question his toughness. But I'm only going to pretend and play along so far. And of the people that know why this fight isn't we're all playing along. My good friend Ariel, we're playing along. But it was a little bit of a surprise. There's a magazine when I was growing up. Now you got .coms, right? The magazine business is done. But there's a magazine when I was growing up. And it was called Pro Wrestling Illustrated. And it would cover all of the circuits. It would cover New Japan. It would cover NWA. It would cover AWA. And of course, Vince's product, then known as the WWF. And when you'd be covering a wrestler, but he had nothing you could speak of, right? It was a tremendous joke within the industry. That when you were bragging up a guy that had no accomplishments, you would talk about his incredible tendon strength. Nobody has the foggiest idea what tendon strength means. That was the brilliance within the writing. And it was as much as the kayfabe and the storyline and the potatoes and the workers and the jobbers. It was much of the vernacular as anything else. When a guy had this incredible, like, look out for this guy. He's taking on Kurt Angle. He's got the Olympic champion, but don't underestimate him. He's got incredible tendon strength. Like, that's funny to a brilliant level, and people would gobble it right up, and they would never even question it. So When the reason you're pulling out for you intrinsically, is just you don't want it known. But it's to the point that you turn to a discovered pinky toe and you have proof. You supply proof. You supply a photograph of a discolored pinky toe, which may or may not be broken. And it may or may not be yours. You don't include your face. It's just a picture of a toe. Like, okay, but are you right to do that? So part of Conor's interview, this is a very common piece of psychology, by the way. I have a friend that's a DA in New York. And they'll catch all the time. They will catch a guy on a home invasion. Did a burglary. They'll have him on camera. They'll go down to the Hawk shop where he's Hunter Biden dropping off the laptop. They'll have it on video. They'll have his fingerprints on all of it. They'll bring it in. They'll sit him down. And they will get a full confession. You guys want to hear something disgusting? Many times when people will do a home invasion, they will go to the bathroom in the person's house. I'm sorry, that's gross. They will go to the bathroom right on the floor. It's like a sign of dominance, like an M, like I owned you. I came in, I took your stuff, and I left. My friend who's the DA told me they will have guys absolute focus. They'll have video. There's no way to deny that. But they'll have an absolute confession to stealing, to breaking in, to taking your VCR and your TV. In his 25 years in the business, he's never got anyone to admit to the bathroom part. Never. Not one time. I took the VCR. I broke in. I was on meth. I went to the Hawk shop. I sold it and the TV for $50. I did not do that. 25 years of denial of that. And I tell you that story because you could relate in some way, as much as that's an extreme example, in some way. Somewhere in your life there's been something that happened that wasn't a big deal, that no one would have cared about, but you did not want it known for whatever reason. It was against your code. It was against who you pretended to be. There was some reason that you would have taken a higher penalty, but not copped to that. So we're in this situation with Conor, and we're all going to play along. We've all agreed, all right, it's a toe. But it comes back to the tendon strength. Like, you can never prove a rib. A rib is a great one. You're not even going to prove COVID-19. You've got HIPAA and other laws. You do not owe anybody an explanation. So if you're going to choose to go with one, do you go with the pinky toe? And it's just a question, but let's go back to the interview that he conducted with Dan Hardy, where he said, we deserve to be at our best. We fought injured many times. We fought injured. In our last fight, we are going to be at 100%. We are going to give the fans. And then whatever comes after that, oh my goodness, it makes me uncomfortable. But this is the master talking. This is the master saying the things that the minions say. Did he make a mistake? That's all I'm asking. Now, I can live with the pinky toe. I live with the pinky toe because of my friend in New York that's a DA 25 years, and the guy will say he took the VCR and he didn't do the, like, okay. But one thing that sold about Conor McGregor was the same thing that sold with Stone Cold Steve Austin. He wasn't a good guy and he wasn't a bad guy. He stood on an island alone. He will fight the good guys and he will fight the bad guys. Everyone else, the good guys would only fight the bad guys. The bad guys would only fight the good guys. He's by himself. No friends, no nothing. Bring it on. Me against the world. And now all of a sudden it's we. Now all of a sudden you got a frog in your pocket. And you're looking around and going, okay, hey, when you're saying we, by the way, you understand there's nobody here with you. Like when this ends, your career ends. Your career will die. The we you speak about continues on. It is the number one reason if you ever hear a fighter come out and speak poorly about Dana White, the psychology behind that, when that fighter's career comes to an end, Dana White's career goes on. That, from a psychological standpoint, is the resentment. Just so you understand. And the master, Conor McGregor, for the first time ever, all of a sudden, is talking about we. Now, that's okay. It's an interview. It's Bellator's with Dan Hardy. It's impromptu. He's got he's doing other things. It's okay. I'm being very critical of it. But you have to be critical. He's the best. He is the best on a mic that we've had, and he never gets it wrong. And is it a mistake to proclaim ahead of time that you are 100%, that you have dotted every I, you have crossed every T, this is the 100% best version of myself? I mean, to prove that point, I will not even go on with so much as a pinky toe out of place. I will be perfect. Is that the situation you want to be in? Or does that create a courage? See, most guys don't have that. Most guys will have a built-in excuse. They just will. Like, they'll go to a club 3 weeks before a fight, get sauced up, and put a video out so that everybody saw them at the club, so that if things didn't go well, they could just defer back to, well, I didn't take it very serious. As a matter of fact, you even saw I was at the club. This next time, I won't go to the club. And that in and of itself is enough to flip the script. Like, most guys would do that. But now you have a guy who's the master, who is proclaiming everything will be just perfect. In a literal sense, all the way down to my pinky toe. Now, I can't call a guy out like that when that's the same guy who sat busted in half with a medical team telling him, come on, wrap the show. We need you. We got to go. And he said, no, I'm going to finish the show. I'm going to go down with the ship. I can't question a guy like that. But those two stories don't blend. And if you want to admit that you took the TV and you took the VCR and you went down to the hawk shop, if you want to admit that, but to protect this other thing, are you making a mistake? Is it a mistake? And what does happen next time? I mean, the ultimate display of power, one of the ultimate battles that you would have seen, and it didn't happen. And I give credit to Conor McGregor for not forcing this, but he could have. And I don't think he would have liked the result, but I'm not positive of that. The ultimate display of power would have been to carry on with it and not fight Michael Chandler. And I don't know how those heads would have been. I don't know. You got the biggest draw in the history of the business against the boss who said you're fighting. I'm just sharing for you, like, that did not go down. And the fight that I wanted, the ultimate fight that I wanted, was McGregor versus USADA. I wanted that so bad. I wanted it so bad. And I thought Conor would have had him. By the way, I agree with Conor's interpretation of that bylaw, but it never got tested. And I'm telling you that because it's very hard to understand the psychology of people that live a different life than you do. It's very hard. I'll give you a great example. What does a rich man want? What is a rich man? If the guy's a billionaire, he's got everything he wants. What does he want? Is he now no longer like you? He doesn't want the nice clothes. He don't want to drive the nice car. Like, what is the difference? Well, there is an answer, and I'll share it with you. The billionaire still wants to buy things. He just wants to buy things that money can't. Fine example. If you ever do a business deal with a very rich guy, you will never get it in writing. Never. This many times. I got one that lives 15 miles behind me. His name's Phil Knight. He owns a small company called Nike. He's very well known for this. He will do a deal with you, and he will never write it down. Lorenzo Fertitta, Dana White, fine examples that you would know. You will get a deal, but you won't get it in writing. And the psychology behind that is the rich, he's now buying something that money can't. When the deal comes through and you're sitting there worried, is he going to honor and pony up? He absolutely will, and he'll do it on time. And now he has just bought something that money can't. He has just bought trust, integrity, respect. It's a very simple thing, but it's psychology. Conor McGregor is not fighting because he likes to punch people. He's not fighting for the money. He's not getting a rush out of it. And he's not getting a necessity out of it. But he does have an opportunity in front of the world to display the one thing that he has feinted all along. The only thing Conor McGregor ever sold, and when I use that term sold, the one thing that he advertised that he didn't have, confidence was real. The skill was real. The speed was real. That left hand was real. All of it was real. His loyalty to his team and pride in his country was all real. The only thing that he ever feinted that he never had was power. And it's the one thing that he wants. I don't begrudge him for that. I'm a power-hungry person myself. I fully understand it. But the one way it's not a title shot, not to come back and walk right in against Leon. The biggest move he could do to display that power, and I'm not positive he'd like it how this is going to go. I'm not guaranteeing you that this is a hand that he's going to win. But the biggest display of power would be to come back and fight and not do it against Chandler. And I don't suppose for you that's the direction that we're going, but I will point it out. And ever getting rebooked or ever getting back onto a train that once would finish hobbled with a medical team 12 feet away, but refusing to go because your job was not done. And then not making a walk for a reason that in your own mind was so shameful, you would replace it with a discolored pinky toe that may or may not have been yours and may or may not have been broken. It's an interesting thing. And I'll leave you with one final thought. But one thing that infuriated me as a fan of college wrestling is I would go to a dual meet and there'd be one match. It's called the money match. It's the one match that you drove there for. It's the one match you wanted to see. It's the one match that you and your friends, when you agreed to meet there, that's the match you wanted to see, and it wouldn't happen. One of the guys didn't get on the scale. One of the guys wasn't feeling good. It happens all the time. And I didn't have a problem with it. Like, I've been in the sport long enough. I've seen people bitch out every Saturday. My problem is when the dude that bitched out would then show up to the match. Like, if you don't feel good or you got the sniffles or be at home in bed. You don't make it to the arena. You don't sit with the team. You're not in the lineup. If you are, pull the straps up and go out there. What's the difference? Honest to God, there might be one. You might have an answer. I don't know, and I'm not pretending. I could not imagine. If I was sitting right here, I could not. What is the difference to me being here? To wrestle, what is the difference? Like what could possibly be going on? You name. I don't say tuberculosis. Like I wouldn't care what your answer was. If I can be here, why can't I be here? And their guys would do it, and they'd show their face, and I could never understand it. I don't know anything about a pinky toe. I don't know anything about feeling good. I fought a man 1 week. I didn't even consider feeling good. I didn't even think about feeling good. That would be silly. How would I feel good? How could I possibly go into practice every day and then feel, how? How? Answer it. You ever jammed your finger? Do you know what you do? You tape it to the other finger. And I'm not questioning the toughness of this man. I'm not questioning it. I believe in it. But the truth will set you free. I don't understand the reasoning of going down a path of a discolored pinky toe, of going down a path of I will not do this until we feel great, till we can deliver for the fans, till we can put on our best. Why? Why would you possibly think they want you at your best? Why would you think that? They just want to see you. Just go in there. At any weight class. You made up this weight class. It's not even the weight class that you're at. That's how much we don't care. It could be 3 rounds, it could be 5. We don't care. You guys figure that in the back. You get paid $100 grand or $100 million. Like we do not care at all. Just get in there. We just get in there. Don't stay here. Get in here. That's all we want. And the best and the us and the we, that's bull.